Recording in progress. Yes. Okay. So, welcome. Today is Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. And we're here to do another MAAT session. I'm solo again this evening. Vida Woodworth is unable to be here again. I am Margaret Major, and I am a registered counseling therapist at the After Trauma Empowerment Network in Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. And we're going to be talking with Jason Pyett of Playwell Bricks a little bit later on, and his artistry with Lego. As I always do, I'm going to do my diversity welcome, and then going to talk a little bit about suicide prevention awareness. This Friday is Suicide Prevention Awareness Day in the world, and September 10th, and just want to highlight that and speak to that important topic. But first, I'm going to do my diversity welcome. So I would like to welcome all women, men, transgender, and other identified individuals here today. I'd like to welcome everyone here who is a mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, cousin, son, daughter, grandmother, or grandfather. Welcome. I welcome people of all races, tribes, and descents. I welcome your bodies, your minds, and your energy. I welcome survivors and those who support them. I welcome all people single, married, partnered, dating, celibate, or involved in whatever sort of relationship is right for you. I welcome gay, lesbian, bisexual, heterosexual, queer, asexual, two-spirited, and others for whom none of the current labels fit. I welcome your emotions, your joy, your bliss, your hope, your rage, your contentment, your disappointment, your hurt. Welcome. I welcome everybody's special way of understanding and knowing the world. Everyone's wisdom, whether it is education that has been learned in schools, colleges, universities, and/or the deep and profound school of life. I welcome those living with chronic medical conditions, visible and invisible. I welcome mystics, seekers, and believers of all kinds. I welcome people who identify as activists, community leaders, artists, musicians, group members, and those who don't. And finally, I'd like to welcome the spirits who lived in this land where we are now. Welcome the spirits of Mi'kmaq, the natives who lived in this area before the Europeans came. I'd like to acknowledge them and invite their spirits to this place. Everyone, welcome. And thank you so much for being here, for watching. Thank you for checking out this video and just taking some time out of the day to spend with us. And I also want to thank the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia for their financial support and funding, excuse me, for the MAAT project. We're very grateful to them for their much needed support and assistance. Okay. And I just want to note that today, September 8th, is actually the After Trauma Empowerment Network's official 1-year anniversary of being a registered nonprofit society with the Registry of Joint Stock. So that's wonderful. We made it 1 year. Awesome. Awesome. So as I mentioned earlier, I just want to talk a little bit, just briefly, about the topic of suicide and suicide awareness. It is estimated that 1 million people in the world die from suicide each year. That's just, it's heartbreaking. Suicide is an option that some people who have lost hope, there's no other option. There are lots of survivors out there who have thought of suicide, who have tried suicide. There are lots of us who have lost family members to suicide, who've lost dear friends, sons and daughters. This is a very difficult topic for me to talk about. It's a difficult topic, I find, for most people to talk about, because it's like trauma. I've yet to meet a person who hasn't been affected in some capacity by suicide, whether it's personal or whether it's someone in their support network, in their unit, that they have lost. Often there is an element of trauma when you do lose someone to suicide. That can be very traumatic for the survivors that are left. I've lost a cousin to suicide, a very, very close friend, and I'm going to play a beautiful, beautiful piece of music that he wrote. It's called Summer Grass, and I want to play that just to remember him and just to share it with the world. It's a beautiful piece of music. So something I did want to do is talk a little bit about a couple of myths that are out there in our world when it comes to suicide. So the first myth, and I found this great resource online, and I'm going to post, when I put this up on YouTube, I'm going to put the link so that if anybody viewing this is interested in this booklet, you can access it from the YouTube description section. Great information about myths, about ways to talk to someone about suicide, questions that you could ask, suicide prevention tips. I just find it's just an excellent resource, and I'm very grateful to the people that put the time in to do this resource, because this isn't easy to put together a resource. So I appreciate the people who took the time to do this. So the first myth I wanted to bring up is the idea that people who talk about suicide won't really do it. And I've heard this throughout my life. I've heard people make that comment. Well, they're talking about it, so that means they're not going to try it, or they're not going to do it. And that is absolutely false. Somebody talking about it, it's on their mind. It's there. It's right there. It may be a subtle or indirect way of asking for help, or reaching out to ask for support or assistance, and they may not know how. So just talking about suicide could be the flag. It could be them reaching out in a way that the only way they know how. So it is absolutely a myth. It is not true that if someone is talking about suicide, that means they're not going to do it. That is false. That is a myth. The next myth is anyone who tries to die by suicide must be crazy. And these myths I'm just reading from this booklet. Most people who reach the point of suicide are not insane. They're not psychotic, suicide is usually an end to a long, usually quite dark existence for some people. It's not a matter of they must be crazy or insane, or they must be psychotic, because who would want to do such a thing? There are some people who they have no hope. And I was talking with a client today about hope and how important having hope is. And when you lose your hope, it, it's a great struggle for a person who's lost their hope. And a great book that I read years ago by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, he talks about, well, it's basically a book about logotherapy, but his experience of surviving the Holocaust. And he, as a psychiatrist, was observing the dynamics of the camps that he would be forced to live in and stay, and how some people he observed, when they lost hope, they would usually succumb to death. And that book, if you haven't read it, I strongly encourage you to check it out. It's an amazing, powerful read. So the next myth: if someone is determined to die by suicide, nothing is going to stop. Kind of that thinking, if someone has their mind made up, there's nothing you can say or do to prevent them from doing it. And that's false too. Now, that doesn't mean that you can prevent suicide 100% of the time. That is impossible. There are steps that can be taken to help prevent it. If somebody makes that decision, it's not your fault, though. That's the important part. And you may have noticed some of the language, the way I'm wording some things, because language, as I've mentioned in previous shows, is so important when we're talking about certain topics. So with suicide, using a word like committed suicide, it's very heavy and negative. Died by suicide is actually more accurate. Because when somebody has a heart attack, we don't say committed heart attack or put it in that way. They died from a heart attack. So a person dies from suicide when they choose to take their life. I'm just reading. Okay, just one second. Oh yes, this one. And I've heard this from colleagues, from friends, and from clients, that they're very concerned about somebody, but they're afraid to bring it up because they think that if they do, they'll put that idea in a person's head, and that's a myth. If you know somebody well enough that you're observing things about their behavior, changes in the way they talk, the words they use, withdrawing from others, and I'll go over some warning signs here in a minute. So if you know someone well enough to notice a shift in them, and a negative shift, that they've probably already had the thoughts. And it's safe to say that you're not going to put that idea in their head and cause them to do it. There could be a sense of relief for a person who might be thinking about it, and again, not sure or doesn't know how to bring it up to someone. If you bring it up to them and say something like, I've noticed you haven't been gaming as much as you used to, or there's ways that you can initiate conversations, and there could be a sense of relief for that person who doesn't know how to bring it up. So it is a myth that if you bring it up to a person, you're going to put the idea and somehow it will cause it or it'll be involved. And that's just not true. So there's a few warning signs here. And again, I'm going to post the link to this on the description part of the video. So some suicide warning signs. And I want to say this again, that by sharing these warning signs, that doesn't mean that the onus is on you to save everybody. These are warning signs that in case you notice somebody in your world experiencing some of these, then that's an opportunity or a flag for you to act. But it doesn't mean that it's your responsibility to save the world. So one warning sign is talking about suicide. Saying things like, I wish I hadn't been born, I'd be better off dead, if I see you again, those kinds of things. You may pick up on those. Those are warning signs. Seeking out lethal means. So looking for access to guns, knives, pills, other objects that could be used. Yeah. Sorry, had a thought and decided not to share. Okay. A preoccupation with death. So a focus on death, dying, or violence. Now violence. Oh, wow. I could do so many sessions just on violence. And even as I say many times, a lot of these topics, I was just talking with Kate before we came on, about how with the topic of suicide, like we could do a whole show on warning signs and what to look for, and then how to have a conversation or initiate a conversation with somebody. You could do a whole show just on if you've lost someone to suicide, how to care for yourself, how to go on, move forward. So all these topics that we do on the show, it's like we could do so many shows just on all these great, important, valuable topics. And we just try to take little snippets and do what we can. No hope for the future. Feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. Those are two profoundly difficult states for someone to be experiencing. Helplessness and hopelessness. Or feeling like you're trapped, like there's no way out. Self-loathing and self-hatred, those are warning signs. So feelings of worthlessness, guilt, shame, and self-hatred, feeling like a burden, like everyone would be better off without me. Another warning sign is getting affairs in order. making out a will, giving away very valued possessions, making arrangements for family members. Some people have written and given letters to people. Saying goodbye is another warning sign. So unusual or unexpected visits or calls to family and friends. Saying goodbye to people. Another sign is withdrawing from others. Withdrawing, not participating as much, not talking as much. Just disengaging from family and friends and socially isolating. Now that, you can tie that in with COVID. Self-destructive behavior. So this could look different for different people. Could be heavy drug use, heavy alcohol use, self-harming, like cutting or burning, reckless driving, high risk-taking behaviors. And the last warning sign is a sudden sense of calm. So if somebody around you seems like, yeah, everything's figured out, everything's good, that could be a warning sign. And being able to ask that person about that would be helpful and important. So I could just keep going with this booklet, but I just wanted to highlight the myths and the warning sign. I would like to share that piece of music, and then we're going to talk with Jason and hear what he's been into and see some of his great artwork. Okay, so my dear friend JJ Bennett, this was a lifelong friend since high school, and he's big, sensitive, caring, warm, carried a lot of weight on his shoulders, loved his tattoos, loved his tat artwork, had some fantastic artwork, and loved music and guitar. And this is a piece I'm going to share with you. Just wondering if that can be, is that being heard? Just hold it on. So Oh, okay. I love sleep. Thank you. And I just want to say, I remember Davy, John, Kingston, and Chester. Thank you. And we'll have, I will share at the bottom of the page when I upload this on YouTube. There'll be suicide crisis support lines that you can call if you need to reach out. These are available 24/7. And yes, I will put those at the bottom. Thank you. Okay, so now we're gently going to shift over to Jason after talking about that heavy topic. Kate is going to patch Jason in, and we're just gonna learn about Jason and the artwork that he does. And there he is. Hey, Jason.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good considering the heavy topic we just.
I was going to say that's a big change of gears,
isn't it? I know we've done that before on this show. It is quite a shift. Yeah, and that music kind of. It was just I was sitting here listening, just kind of reflecting and picturing summer grass blowing, and it's just beautiful for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it was a beautiful piece.
it was. Yes, and thank you so much for being here. Taking time out of, I'm sure, your very busy schedule just to share a little bit with us about what you do and how you got into it. Kind of like
Yeah.
wherever. Do you want me to ask, or do you want to just kind of?
I can start everybody off, I guess.
Okay.
Like a lot of kids, I play with Lego a lot. I did a lot of building when I was younger. We didn't have a lot money-wise, but we did have one bin of Lego. And that was kind of perpetually what I was diving into. And then, adulthood happens and kind of you, I guess, grow out of it. I don't use that term anymore, but
Good for you.
It fades away. We'll put it that way. In our, I guess, among Lego people, it's called going into your dark ages.
Oh, thank you for that. I
Yeah,
didn't know.
and then when you get back to Lego as an adult, it's called coming out of your dark ages. So anyway,
Ah,
it's a cute little way of
it
putting it.
is.
But
I like it. Yeah.
yeah, so I collected a bit even when I was, my 1920s, and um mostly Star Wars. As you can tell behind me, there's a lot of Star Wars sets.
Ah,
So then my kids came along and I put all that aside because little hands and little objects.
yeah.
So I hid that stuff away. And then on a trip to Florida, we had a stopover in New York, and there was the big Lego store there. So, I went just out of curiosity's sake. And there was a set behind the glass that I, would have absolutely loved to have owned. I was drooling over it, but it was pretty expensive, so I was like, no, I won't. My wife, who's definitely my enabler 100%, went, and that was the Christmas gift for that year.
Oh,
And
oh,
yeah, so that kind of got everything rolling again. So I pulled all the Lego out, and my daughters just absolutely loved it, and they
oh,
started wanting to get into it. So perfect opportunity. Um, so this is where we get into the meat of what transpired. So I noticed when I was doing a lot of Kijiji and Facebook group to buy just secondhand Lego for them to play with.
yeah.
And I noticed as I was going from, house to house, kid to kid, whatever, that they weren't doing anything with their Lego. So they would buy it, they'd build it, or their parents would buy it, they'd build it, they'd put it on a shelf, and that's it. Um, And it's kind of one of those things that has become very well known in education circles, is the lack of creativity that's happening with
Oh.
kids.
Mhm.
Um, so I decided to maybe start something in my house, teaching kids how to use Lego, how to build with Lego. So
Oh.
I did that for in this room. Um, I had about 6, maybe 8 kids that I bring over once a month or so and show them some Lego stuff and certain
Cool.
things, and have them build things and show them maybe how to improve them. And over the next year, I contacted the Family Resource Center that's here in Middle Musquodoboit, and we teamed up and we started the program there. And that went from like 6 kids to over 20 kids once a
Good for
week.
you. Yeah.
And then that space got too small real quick.
It would.
So I was really close with the elementary school.
Oh.
I was already at the time running a Lego robotics program. So I asked the principal there if we could bring the Lego club to the school, and she was elated. She has been like another just fantastic enabler of all things that I do. She's been so wonderful. I've gone up and taught coding and robotics and Lego, and she's up for anything that I'm
Oh,
I'm willing to
wow.
do. So yeah, so then uh I had that program going on. We had 25, I think up to 30 kids at one point, which is like a
Wow.
quarter of the school coming once a week.
Wow.
I have 300 pounds of Lego. So in
Oh my.
backtrack a little bit, I have 300 pounds of Lego I bring to these workshops. And to backtrack a tiny bit, when I started the program, I mentioned I was doing um, the used bulk lots that I was buying,
Yeah.
and I decided to turn that into a non-for-profit so that I could fund the workshops and get enough Lego
Oh.
to. So I ran that non-for-profit for 2 years, and in that
Oh.
2 years, I collected a literal ton of Lego for the workshops.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. So um,
Oh. You've done
so
so
I
much,
also
Jason.
yeah, yeah. So that was how Play Well Brick started, was these workshops in that non-profit. I actually I took the name from the Danish word for Lego, is kind of a amalgamation of legot, which means play well.
Oh,
So it was
clever.
Play Well
Clever.
Bricks, right? Right. So it's just an anglicized version of that phrase. So I got known in the Lego community just for because I was selling so much, and that gave me a little bit of a boost on Facebook and different social media groups. And as I was doing these workshops, I was also playing around with some different Lego things. I don't have any of them because I've recycled most of them into other projects.
Ah.
But I created a perfect circle out of like Lego blocks
Oh.
basically, and that got a little bit viral, and that boosted my popularity a little more. And in that same time period, I would say within 3 months of that, so this would have been 2.5 years ago, somebody came and asked me if I could design a particular model in Lego, and I didn't know if I could. It's going to be a running theme uh, since I've turned 40, if I've just gone for it.
Yay.
Um, it's one of the things I try to inspire people, which I'm glad to be able to, that you reached out to me to talk about this, because one of my big things is inspiring people. I don't care to
Oh,
do anything, right?
mhm.
It could be building Lego. I started learning to play bass 3 years ago,
Ah.
drums about a year ago, piano, and singing and all that. So you're never too old, I guess, is the old adage, and it's very true. I've done more since I've been 40 than in the previous 40
Yeah,
years. So,
I hear
but
you there, Jason. I
yeah,
just had a birthday yesterday, so I
well, there you go. Yeah. So, if I'm rambling, just stop me.
no, 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 it's all so interesting. Like,
um, so yeah, he asked me to design this particular model from a movie, and it took me quite a while to do it, probably 4 months. But it was, you know, it was just a passion at that point, and it still is a passion. But it was just something to do, and I was getting paid for it, so win-win.
yeah.
So that was my very first commission, and then over this last 2.5 years, I've done, I can't even guess, I would say 50 projects. Um, and I have a team of 6 other designers that I work with that I've brought in to play well bricks.
Wow.
We are an international business, so I've done work for Google, I've done work for multiple other businesses, as well as personal commissions. And yeah, so it's taken off more than I ever expected. It's been very organic, and it's been one of those situations where I don't mind hearing no if I
Ah,
absolutely put everything out there. um, and I've contacted people like Google, and got affirmatives, and that's empowered me to go further and further. So now I've actually recruited a salesperson in the States, and he's going to be dealing with higher end clients like Disney and things like that going
wow,
further.
Jason,
So
this is incredible. What a
yeah, yeah.
story. Yeah.
So it's taken off way more than I ever expected, and it's just a matter of me paddling as fast as I can to keep up with the wave because
Well, I was just thinking it's a beautiful thing when we find a flow and we can just
yeah,
go with that flow.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and it sounds like you found a flow for you.
yeah,
You're
exactly.
you are
And
riding the wave. Yeah.
I'm definitely riding the wave. I don't This is one of those things I don't stop to think about very often, because if I stop to think about it, I'd get scared.
Uh-huh. I get it. I get it. I get anxiety every time we go on the show because it's like, okay, we're talking about this and this and this, and I
Yeah,
get anxiety. That's
yeah,
an
yeah,
anxiety. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I've Before I was 40, I was very much controlled by my anxiety and fear, and all of those things. You said this was, we'll go back a little bit into the
Okay.
darkness. You said it was Suicide Prevention Week, and I've been there. So I don't want to go too far into that, but
Yeah.
um, I had a pretty rough childhood, and Lego's part of the thing that brought me out of that. So
Oh.
yeah. So we'll get back to light stuff.
It's okay, Jason. It's all good. This is
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those things. That's why I'm very passionate about people finding that thing. I think people, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I find a lot of people don't think they're creative when they are incredibly creative.
I
Um, most people have no idea how creative they are because they immediately dismiss themselves.
I agree.
And in my case, I've always had a creative lean, but I never really pushed that creativity as far as it could go. And now I am, and the results are speaking for themselves, I guess.
Definitely.
And every piece that I do is something new, and a lot of challenges. I'll pan the camera real quick,
Yeah.
just so you can see something. So there's a tower, and there's the rest of the building. And oh, let's see. There's some more of it I'm working on right now.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So that building is 64,000 pieces. It's of a mansion that's in Indiana, and it's part of an administration building for a university. And the reason I bring that up is talking about challenges, because clients come to me all the time with something, and they have confidence that I can do it, and I usually have no idea where to begin. It's it's one of those situations where
I'm so sorry.
no, it's all good.
No, I want to hear what you're saying, and it's like I inhaled a piece of dust. These are the unexpected things of life.
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes, it's always fun.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think I'm good now, Jason. Please continue. I want to hear what you need to say.
Sure. So in this particular case, yeah, this was a mansion built in the 1800s, and it's beautiful. There's like 3 turrets. It's absolutely massive. If your viewers want to look it up, it's called the Brookside Mansion, or if they want to go on my website, playwell-bricks.com, and look in the projects, they can see the build in there. So yeah, this was an absolutely immense challenge. And when I began, it's just a matter of letting whatever creative process happen. And a lot of things creatively, you just have to let it, as you said, just get into a flow.
Yeah.
And let it go. I find a lot of people think too hard about how to do it rather than why they're doing it. And it makes a huge difference when you change that framework in your mind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so this story is really interesting, because my client, before we had talked, I wasn't aware that this was going to happen, but my client has agreed to pay my travel expenses
Oh my.
and bring the mansion to a Lego show in Indiana next month. Yeah. So I get to actually see the mansion in real life. I will be installing this mansion inside of that mansion as an art display, as well as doing my very first Lego show. So it's a whole lot of excitement happening, and stress, because I thought I was going to have 3 months to build this, and it turned out I have 6 weeks.
Oh. Yeah, no pressure, Jason. No pressure. Wow.
Back to the challenges and jumping into things that you don't know how to do. You just go for it.
Your story is full of courage, because I know you're saying after 40 is when you kind of gave yourself permission.
Yeah.
I think that, and I'm sorry, my voice is I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my throat. This has never happened before. But the courage that it took for you to dig out your Lego, and yes, your wife as an enabler, yay for her for prompting that and reigniting that part of you, because obviously that's a part of you that needed to be expressed, because
Yeah.
it's going so incredible for you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal what's happened for you in the past 2.5 years.
Oh, it's mind-boggling.
And it's I'm honored to to have met you, and I'm excited to see what the next 2.5 years bring.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this has been a roller coaster. I don't think there's been a boring day. There's definitely been stressful days.
Oh yes, I
Um,
bet.
it's kind of humorous because immediately when I tell people that I design Lego for a living, or anything about my business, they typically get very excited and say, "Oh, it must be great to, you know, be able to play all day," basically, because that's usually what people think. Um,
Yeah, that's the
there's
business side.
a lot more that goes into it than play.
I Yes, yes,
um, yeah, building for play doesn't really happen for me anymore. It's always and it's I mean, some people might consider that a sad thing, but for me, that's exactly where I wanted this to go when I started the business end of it,
yeah.
was to turn it into something that I could actually, make a living at. And I still get to do the things with the kids. I still get to, do the workshops. Not
I was
last year,
just gonna ask
obviously.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So we'll be once I get back from Indiana and do my isolation and all that fun stuff and
yeah.
COVID tests, I will be back up at the school this year, and I can't wait
Awesome.
to do the workshops again. And um, again, back to the principal, I had asked her when the mansion was completed if I would be able to bring it up for a public viewing.
Yeah.
So we will be doing that,
Yay.
and that will be, I think, September 24th. If anybody's interested, they can go and check out my Facebook page, just Play Well Bricks.
Play Well Bricks. I'll put a link
And
down on
yeah,
the YouTube page when I do the description. I'll put a link to your webpage.
perfect. So there'll be an announcement on when that will be, and I hope that local media will come by and hear the
Yeah.
story, because I would love to tie this in and um, most importantly, inspire more people to get out and help kids, really, because that's what this all came from. This
Yeah.
was not some grand design to become rich and famous off Lego. This was literally about helping kids out. And going back to turning 40 and all of those things, moving to Middle has been, it's one of those communities that just sucks you in.
In a good way.
In a very good way. I was never very community oriented until I moved here. And, it was just from people saying, "Oh, well, I was a stay-at-home dad at the time, and, I had time. So, you could help here, you could help here, you could help here." And begrudgingly at first, it was like, okay, yeah. And then I grew to love it. And that has led to the big transformation for me, from a negative mindset into a very different person than I was even 5 years ago to who I am now. So
Yeah.
anybody that says change is impossible and these things are impossible is just fooling themselves, really, and trying to convince themselves not to do something.
You're
And
saying such powerful things. And I don't think you're just inspiring children or kids. I think that adults are also going to be inspired and have been inspired by you.
yeah, well, I'm always humbled to hear that, to be honest. And
Well, you're inspiring me. Now I want to go get some Lego.
there's lots
Just give it a
around.
try. Yeah.
There's so many. Yeah, going back to the therapy part that we had discussed
Oh, yes.
when I was younger. Over COVID, a lot of adults have gotten into Lego, and Lego's become even a bigger brand because of it. And I've been in contact with other people who have started Lego businesses who've got in touch with me to help with their Lego business that they're just getting off the ground. Um,
Ah,
so
ah,
yeah, it's one of those circle of life kind of things going around. And Lego is very therapeutic. It's one of those things that you can just turn off,
yeah,
and the whole process, no matter what part it is, you're exploring your creativity. Even if it's following instructions, you're still seeing where the bricks are going. You're
yeah.
seeing,
You're creating.
yeah, and it's kind of a different sort of art than anything else. It's sort of paint by numbers, and it's sort of artistic design, and it's sort of engineering. It's kind of all of these things
Yeah.
all in one package. And for me, when I was doing all these sets for the buy and sell, I learned so much because I was paying attention to how designers were designing their things. And I was doing that so I could teach the kids, but in turn, I was learning myself.
Yeah.
So all of that came together in the end to, formulate everything that where I am today.
Yeah. It's quite an amazing story. And maybe you will consider coming back on again sometime, and we can talk music, and you can sing a couple of notes and
Sure.
play a riff on the bass or the drums, like whatever you feel inspired to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've been dying to play music.
Yes. Yes. It's we actually just had a big jam on the weekend. We had about well, we had our limit. We had in and out between 40 and 50, and
Oh,
just
wow.
just people singing and playing, grabbing a shaker or a drum, and just it's a beautiful thing. It's
Oh,
so
that sounds
therapeutic.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll keep you posted on the next one, probably
Oh,
December.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great therapy.
That was amazing.
I do have a question. I know we're getting close to 7, but I'm just curious about something. So, do you just, I guess, for my understanding, do you put things together and then take them apart?
It depends on what the project is.
Okay.
Um, so in some instances, the client will just want a digital design,
Okay.
and they will handle all the test building and everything. In some instances, they want the build done and glued up and sent
Oh,
like
okay.
that. In some instances, I will do the test build here, take it all apart, and put it in a package, and it goes to them, and they want to put it together themselves.
Oh, cool.
In this case, I'm literally driving it to where it needs to go and setting it up. So, yeah, there's so many variables with what
Okay.
I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's, yeah, every single project has a lot going on, and there's no way to actually like pigeonhole exactly what we do.
Yeah.
You have to be really light on your feet.
There's a delicacy involved there.
There's definitely. Yeah, I have a distributor now in the UK, for my UK clients, that I can send her the design. She does the test build and ships it out to them. I'm slowly working. I have a team member in the States who does the same thing, and one in Europe so I'm slowly working that connection so that I can get connected globally. So
Wow.
getting bricks is probably the biggest challenge that I have.
Oh.
Canada's kind of in a desert as far as that
Oh.
goes. Yeah, yeah. You wouldn't think it, but it's really the most expensive part. If I was doing business in Europe or the States, it would be a completely different setup. But in
Oh.
Canada, there's a lot of customs fees, there's a lot of shipping, etc.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, this might seem like a random question.
Sure.
What's your favorite kind of potato chip?
Oh, back when I could eat salt,
Oh, okay. Okay.
I would say it would have been Miss Vicky's jalapeno.
Okay.
And now that I can't, it's unsalted Miss Vicky's.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Well, that might affect the other question I was going to ask. So I'll switch questions.
Sure.
What's your it's not Lego related, but it's music related.
Sure.
What's your favorite song that you've been working on? Like
That I've been
that you've
working on.
learned? Yeah.
Oh, okay. The I guess the latest one I've been working on, it's my favorite, is Lakini's Juice from Live. So that would have been
Ooh.
late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really fun to rock out to.
Do you sing
Most
that
of the
one
stuff,
too?
oh yeah,
Oh, that'd be therapeutic.
it is. Um, I'm pretty loud. So
Good. Gotta be loud.
everything that yeah, we play pretty loud stuff all the time. And I love it. It's just gives that release,
Yeah.
you can just belt out and let everything go, and it's awesome.
It is, isn't it?
Zombie by the Cranberries is another one that is great for that. You can,
I love doing that one. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you can dig real deep and let it all go. And the
Yeah.
bass line on that as well is just, it's just raw. It's so raw.
It is. It is. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is well, it's been quite an honor talking with you and learning about what's happening over there in your world in Middle Muscatine. Like, who knew? Like, it's quite
It's
an
kind of,
incredible story.
yeah, there's a lot of people around here that don't know. I have people ask me all the time, it's like, you do some sort of Lego thing? It's like, yep, that's what I do.
I think it's so wonderful that you're still connected with the kids and you go in and you spend time with them and allow them that space to be creative and to learn how to be creative. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's wonderful.
yeah. I've recently changed. I used to ask my kids, what have you done today, or what productive thing have you done today? And I've changed that to saying, what creative thing have you done
Oh,
today?
nice.
So I think it's one of those things that people in the job market know, people in education know, that the one thing that's been missing from education for many years was creativity. And we're getting to a point that that's essential, and it's not only essential for work, it's essential for life.
It is.
I, we we mentioned this in passing in our initial conversation, that I truly believe, until you let yourself become creative, that you're missing out so much on life.
Yeah. And I hope that you guys can't hear my dog in the background whining. Can you hear that?
We can, yeah.
Oh, Papa dog. We're almost done, Moose. Oh, yeah, it is. It's after 7, isn't it?
It's a little past, yep.
That's okay. That's okay. I guess was there anything else, Jason, that you wanted to share that you didn't get a chance
I don't know. I'm sure there's a million things.
to? And I'll do the same. I'll think,
But
oh, I should have brought that up. I should have asked that question.
we'll save that for next time.
We will. We will. I would so love for you to come back. I would love for you to come back.
Absolutely. Well, maybe maybe in a few months or a year down the road, we'll see where things are going, and we'll
Oh
reconnect.
yeah, who knows where you'll be in the world, you know?
I
You
I
could
I
be
never
over.
know.
No,
I never know, and it's a beautiful thing.
it is. And you just keep riding that wave and inspiring people. Like,
Oh,
keep doing that.
absolutely. Yeah. Well,
Okay, I think I'm gonna do my loving kindness meditation and then we'll be done for today. But
great.
thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you for
Take good
having me.
care.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye. Now I think, let me, okay. Wow, what an incredible, incredible story. Wow. And a perfect example of trusting yourself, getting in your flow, riding that wave, as he called it. Like, it's so inspiring. And the courage to be able to give yourself that permission to give something a try, to step out of your comfort zone. Like, thank you, Jason. Thank you. Okay, so um, I'm going to do the loving kindness meditation. Hopefully, my puppy dog will be quiet for just the next minute and a half or 2 minutes for us to get through this, and then we'll conclude. And we'll. Oh, actually, we won't see you next week. I've been invited by CBC to participate in a town hall forum in Muscatawbet Harbor. So I will be participating in that, and I will happily share how that goes the next week. But there won't be a match show next week. Okay, so for the next probably 2 minutes, all you have to do is just be in this space. You can close your eyes if you want to. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, please just stare, find something to fix your stare on for the next couple of minutes. Just take a deep breath. You don't need to count or hold. Just kind of let yourself settle into this space. Put all your worries, all your stresses up on the shelf for the next 2 minutes. And you can pick them back down when we're finished with this meditation. You may notice your breathing just starting to slow down. And begin to feel any tension you might be holding in your body. Begin to feel that start to drain away from you. Feel it drain away from around your eyes, your face, through your neck, your shoulders, and down your arms. Feel any tension drain like a liquid down through your body and out through your toes. Now begin to feel your body fill up with love. Imagine a loving white light entering your feet, traveling up through your body, up to your stomach, to your chest, and your arms. Feel it almost bursting through your heart, your fingers, and through the crown of your head. And when you feel embraced in that love, silently repeat the following words to yourself. May I be free from all harm. May I be safe and protected. May I be free from all suffering. May I be happy. May I be free from all disease and physical pain. May I be healthy and strong. And may I be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. Now turn your thoughts to this vast world, this huge earth with all living creatures. Continue to feel that love centered in your heart as you silently sing. May all beings be free from all harm. May all beings be safe and protected. May all beings be free from all suffering. May they be happy. May all beings be free from all disease and physical pain. May they be healthy and strong. And may all beings be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. Send your love as far out around the world as possible. And just imagine that energy traveling through the air. Continue to feel that love centered around your heart. Notice the weight of your feet on the floor, feeling yourself in this moment, in the now. When you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you to Jason for sharing his amazing, inspiring story. I look forward to Jason coming back. Thank you for being here, for watching. I apologize for the the coughing throat issues I've experienced this evening. And just please be well, take care of yourself, and take care of those around you. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye-bye.